Donald Trump supporters claim that, like President Ronald Reagan before him, he's being underestimated in his temperament and intelligence for the Oval Office, while his critics are using President Reagan's election as a reminder to not take Mr. Trump's candidacy lightly. So how fair are the comparisons from each? Let's talk about it with Michael Reagan, son of the late President Ronald Reagan, founder of the Reagan Legacy Foundation, a New York Times best-selling author, and his latest book, Lessons My Father Taught Me, The Strength, Integrity, and Faith of Ronald Reagan. He joins me here in studio. Always good to see you, Michael.
Good to see you, Larry.
How do you react to all these comparisons? I don't see it.
You know what I said on my Twitter account at Reagan World? I said, if Ronald Reagan were anything like Donald Trump, Nancy never would have married him, let alone vote for him.
The only comparison would be that both hosted television shows, but one was a governor for 8 years.
Yeah, he was a governor for 8 years. He'd been a conservative for a long period of time. He was a conservative Democrat before he was a conservative Republican.
Big supporter of Harry Truman.
Absolutely. And so he had a lot of things that he accomplished before he got into the political realm, if you will, and he wasn't demeaning. I think that was the greatness of Ronald Reagan. I write about that in the book.
Could you ever see your father yelling at the reporters or calling people names or attacking a judge?
Yeah, I do write about it in the book, the fact that the only time my sister Maureen and I saw my father ever raise his voice, and when he said, "I paid for this microphone."
Yeah, remember that? That was only...
Maureen and I looked at each other and said, "Oh my God, how long has that taken?" Never saw him raise his voice with anybody ever, whether it's with the children or with candidates and what have you.
All right, you're a Republican, you're outspoken. What do you make of the Trump thing?
I am concerned, to be honest with you. I'm concerned on the direction of the Republican Party. I said in one tweet, it's no longer the party of Reagan, it's the party of Trump. Good luck.
Your father's spinning, right?
No, he's digging. He was spinning for a long time. Now he's just
wanna go lower.
digging. That's what he's doing. I said, you know, I don't want to wake up one morning and hear from my father's gravesite, I didn't leave the party left me. Because you could hear that again unless things change, I think, dramatically.
How do you account for it, Michael? What happened?
I think we've got the first talk radio, social media candidate is what we've got. We got angry people. If you look at social media, they're angry, always angry. You can't say anything on social media without being attacked if you don't agree 100% with
Same as Sanders anger people, right?
Absolutely right. So they're very angry. So that's why I say I think you've got the first talk radio, social media, really election going on.
And what do you fear from your party? Now, Mitch McConnell has expressed some worries over this attack on a federal judge. Has never been happened in a candidacy by a presidential candidate. What do you make of the? Would you say you're going to lose?
Well, I would say.
Are you going to vote for him? What are you going to do, Michael?
Actually, I think in California, in the primary, I'm probably going to write in Ronald Reagan. I mean, everybody's looking for him. Why not just write him in that way? I'm not on board with Donald Trump. I tell you, I have real problems with someone who just divides people into specialized groups. You know, my daughter-in-law is Hispanic. My new granddaughter is half Hispanic. And I got to tell you, I can't go around this country and find any Hispanic that doesn't love Ronald Reagan. At the same time, I can't find any Hispanic who loves the Republican Party. And if you want to be the party that's going to divide people, then you're not going to have a long-lasting relationship with the American people. And Donald Trump has got to find a way to bring people together. We've got, as I tell people, I've got what they call electile dysfunction. Because I think both choices are terrible.
If he's ahead of the ticket, will he hurt congressional and senatorial candidates?
I think that's the greatest worry of Paul Ryan. That's why I endorsed him the other day. I think that's a great worry of Paul Ryan. I think it's a great worry of Mitch McConnell. Is that going to hurt the down ticket? But then I know a lot of people who aren't going to vote at the top, who are going to vote the down ticket to keep the Senate and the House in the hands of the Republicans.
Just on qualifications, wouldn't you rather see Hillary in the office than Donald Trump? I mean, on resume if this was a job
Oh, wait,
resume.
if we're talking about resume
This is a
or
joke.
deeds. If you're talking resume, you know, as far as deeds and things that, I mean, I look at the Middle East, I look at the foreign policy of Barack Obama, I look at her, head of the State Department, and I look at the turmoil that's now going on in the Middle East, and I'm concerned about that. And she needs to take ownership of it. She hasn't taken ownership of it, and neither is Barack Obama.
But his popularity keeps going up, and she's a hawk, which you should like about her. I mean, Republicans are more hawkish. She's more hawkish than Trump.
Oh, she's maybe
Trump
more
wants
hawkish
to give
than Trump.
nuclear weapons to Japan.
Listen, this is like, what, this is June? You know, it's going to get serious around October. And you know as well as I do, you've been there, we've been there together a lot. It's the last week or 2 weeks to this election campaign that's going to tell the story. It depends who's going to turn their voters out. Are enough people going to be turned out for Hillary Clinton, or are they going to be turned off by Hillary Clinton? Because you've got people being turned off by both. You have 57% of the electorate says we don't like either one.
The debate will be on pay-per-view.
Yeah, probably so.
Let's talk about the book.
Yeah.
Why did you write it?
I wrote it because everybody listening to you right now knows my father is President of the United States. You knew him personally, but other people didn't know him personally. And so I thought, you know, it's about time we wrote a book about him as a father, because there's been so much speculation over all the years about my father. That's why I wrote it.
One of the things written a lot about it was that he was distant, that he was his first love was Nancy, and everything else was in second place.
That's absolutely true. He was that way with Nancy, and I write about this. My dad was just absolutely destroyed when my mother divorced him. You know, when he was governor, he signed no-fault divorce, Jane Wyman, and he swore to himself, I'm never going to let that happen again. I'm never going to let another woman walk out on me. On the other side, Nancy's father walked out on her the day she was born. And she made it her own determination. I'm never going to have another man walk out on me. These two meet, fall in love, and get married. And one says no woman's going to walk out, one says no man's going to walk out, and they join forces. And really, if you were a child in that home, you needed a crowbar to get them across. But if you wanted to be with Dad, you spent 20 years like I did, or 24 years like Maureen did, riding out to the ranch, riding horses, chopping wood, painting fences, doing chores. If you wanted to be with Dad, you got him away from Nancy, you got him out to the ranch, you got him on a horse.
You had trouble with Nancy?
Well, I think I'm not the only one in the family had trouble with Nancy. I mean, Dad wore the white hat in the family. He was smart enough to put the black hats on his wives. That's why the kids were always mad at their mothers, and they loved Dad. It was the same way outside as much as inside. But I don't think it's any different for a stepchild to not have the greatest relationship with a stepmother.
What were some of the lessons you learned?
Well, listen, I learned about this country. I learned riding out to the ranch, sing all the military songs, the Marine Corps, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard. Listen to him tell stories about America, about the greatness of America. I learned those things riding out to the ranch in 40-minute drives every single Saturday when he would pick me up. Those are great lessons from my father. He wasn't just a Boy Scout when he ran for office. He was a Boy Scout all of his entire life. That's just one of them. Plus the faith of my father and the integrity of my father. I think that's just what caught everybody. And can I tell you a story real quick? Alec Baldwin. You know the conservatives love to mention him on the air because you have your phones light up for 3 days. I run into Alec Baldwin walking out of a gym here in Los Angeles a couple of years ago. And I said, Mr. Baldwin, my mother's Jane Wyman. And he turns to me, I said, well, I could have said my father was Ronald Reagan, but I probably thought I would have had to duck. He says, that's pretty good. He says, you know, we talked for a few minutes. He said, you know something? I miss your father. I said, you miss my father? He said, I was having dinner with some friends the other night. I told him how much I missed him. I said, you voted against every time you got a shot at it. You railed against everything he tried to do. What do you mean you missed him? He said, I've come to realize since your father's been gone, your father had a good soul. And what the world is missing today is that soul. That from Alec Baldwin. And you would understand that because you knew that soul.
I knew that soul. He had that. You write that you learned a lesson in integrity from your father when he threw a bag of cash at a man who tried to bribe him. How did that happen? Well,
he walked in. This is before he's running for governor. He's thinking about running for governor of California. And he walks into Justin Dart's office in Los Angeles, Rexall Drugs. And Justin Dart's talking to him about running and supporting him for governor. And there's a bag on his desk. And my sister and I have always argued over whether it was 40,000 or 400,000. But anyway, as Dad's getting ready to leave, Justin says, take the bag. Dad opens it up, and it's just loaded with cash. And he just got very upset by that and threw and hit him in the chest, Justin Dart in the chest, and said, do you think you can buy me? I don't need to run for governor, and walked out the door. Took 3 days to get Justin Dart to get him back to the office and apologized profusely for even thinking about it. He said to him, I don't understand it, Ron. All the politicians take the cash. He said, I'm not a politician.
Why didn't he have empathy for the LGBT community? Do you think? Why was that old-fashioned or?
I think that's back to his day. But remember, I mean, my mother gave Rock Hudson his first job in Hollywood, Magnificent Obsession. So it's not like he wasn't around the gay community. But it just could have been generational. So many things happen different, generational, how you're raised and what have you. But he never let it stop him from, appointing someone who might be gay. And there was plenty of gays that served in his administration. So it wasn't something he used against them, say you couldn't work. It was, may he be against, the gay marriage and so on and so forth.
In the book, you attribute this quote to your father. I know in my heart that man is good, that what is right will always eventually triumph. Do you think Donald Trump is right when he proposes to temporarily... Do you think your father would approve of banning Muslims?
No, he wouldn't have done that. And by the way, that quote is over my dad's gravesite at the Presidential Library in Simi Valley. This is the difference between Donald Trump and my father and a lot of people. Ronald Reagan looked for the good in everyone. He didn't look for the bad. And that's why he got so many people come alongside with him. There's one story I tell in the book. He's North Carolina in 1976, Larry. And he's campaigning. He gets done with his speech. And a school for the blind had brought some children there. And they asked if they could ask him some questions. He said, well, let's go in the trailer. I don't want people to think I'm using blind children to garner votes. Go in the trailer. And these blind children, a few of them, 10 maybe, are asking him questions. And all of a sudden, my father, and you can see him doing this, Larry, you knew him. My father realized that these kids can hear me, they can't see me. And he steps forward and he takes his head and he lays it down amongst the children and invites the children to lay their hands on his face as they ask him questions, so they can now not only hear his answers, they can now see his answers through touch.
Wow. The book, again, is Lessons My Father Taught Me, The Strength, Integrity, and Faith of Ronald Reagan. It's out now, available everywhere, including for downloads.